In this video, we're going to create a tool called Boiler that lets you spit out boilerplate code for quick copying and pasting into your new programs.
Okay, for this one I've already created a directory called Boiler. So I'm just going to change into the Boiler directory and then I'll open my code editor. So here's the README I was talking about. And it just explains what it is and gives some examples of how I might use it. What I want to be able to do is type boiler go and get a bit of boilerplate text for Golang, or boiler go HTTP, and I'll get a little bit more involved boilerplate for an HTTP server in Go, and so on. Alright, so that's the gist of what I want to build. I want to make this as simple as possible, at least to begin, and I want it to work right away as soon as I can. So maybe by the end of this video I'll have something that at least works. And so I'm going to go ahead and clear my terminal here. So I want to start with a directory that I'll call templates. And inside that directory, I'm going to create a directory called Go. That'll be for my Go templates. And then I'll also create a directory called HTML for HTML templates. So under HTML, we'll create a file called main.txt. Every file in here is going to be a text file. And main.txt will be the first one, so sort of like the index in a web browser, not a web browser, but a index in a web page. So in the Go, I'm going to create main.txt here, and that'll be the Golang main. And I'm going to also create another file in the Go directory called HTTP, and that will be the expanded HTTP example. And then in HTML, I think probably main is okay for now. Alright, so those are my templates. Let's go fetch some templates. I'm just going to go to neat. I'm going to view the page source here and just grab this as an HTML template. And so in my HTML main, I'll do that. Get rid of that. And I'll just get rid of most of this body. So might put that in here, and I'll put a title. No, maybe I'll just change this to something like that. Alright, there's my HTML template, so I'm good to go. Save that. And I want a Go template as well. And I have a few examples on my website that I can copy and paste from. So an initial Go pack or template is going to be pretty bare bones. So there's a main Go package, and then an HTTP example will be closer. Oops, already messed that up, didn't I? This is my HTML main, and then my main Go template, or sorry, my HTTP server. Oops, didn't copy the right thing there. I'll grab this page again. This will be an example HTTP server. And maybe I'll change that later to make a better example out of it, but for now that'll work. All right, so I have my templates, and now I need a Go main program, so we're going to call it boiler.go, and this is package main, and we'll write the main function. I'll stub this out like I do. Grab that first command line argument. Probably do some stuff like make sure that's the only command line argument. Might want to show syntax, and I bet I want a function for syntax. Something like that. And I'll only show syntax if the syntax is wrong. So I love to run stuff right away, so get that started. Okay, so we're going to grab the first command line argument. We're going to read and output. Well, first we're going to check if a file exists. And then we're going to output the file. So this program is just going to output the templates to standard out. Then they can be piped, just copied and pasted from the terminal like so, or piped into other programs or whatnot. So that's pretty good. And I think I did command line arguments last time, but I'm just going to search for it real quickly. That's right. So template is equal to args1. I'm going to do the same thing I did last time and just make sure there's only one argument. You know what I could do is, I think I called that random character. We could look at that code. Look at that. So that's what I want to do there. So if the argument length, or excuse me, set the argument length to the length of the OS args 1, that's the size of those arguments. If it's greater than 1, we're going to, OS exit 1 is a good idea too, probably. Throw that down here. We will let me change that to show syntax. And we can get rid of it from there. All right. So let's run that again. Templates declared but not used. In a minute, we'll check if the template exists. For now, we will read the file and output it. This is a nice little example. If this works, this reads a file. Maybe I'll throw this in a function as well. So this takes a file name and opens that file, logs an error if there is one, and then it copies that file to std out, standard output, and throws an error. I may want to, I guess I don't need to handle that. It's not the error. Don't need to really assign it. That's interesting. So, don't call that function. I might just cat template. Of course, we need a directory. I think I'm going to just assign that right now. So I use an environment variable as the template directory, and we'll probably default it somewhere. A good place to default it might be the home directory. The home directory would have differences on Mac and Windows and Linux. Mac and Linux should be about the same, but have to deal with that later. For now, I'm just hard coding my templates directory. All right, so cat template dir plus template. So that would end up being this whole thing plus the first command line argument, which would be go, whatever you type here. In the case of the go, though, we would just be typing go. and we didn't check the template file exists. And the other thing we can do is, if the template file doesn't exist, then check if a file called main.txt exists in that directory. Right. One thing I could do is say, okay, check if this path exists, and then down here we can do the path plus main. So that was template dir plus template plus main.txt. And what order should we check these in? Probably want to see if an actual file exists first. Just adding text to the end because I know that it will be a text file. Alright, so the template is argument 1. The template file is going to be the template directory plus the template So just let me stuff out some thoughts here. So if we specify go, then we want to look for /go/main.txt as well as probably /go.txt. And if you pass in go HTTP, then it should look for go main.txt, and it should look for that. So the order I'd want to do these is attaching the template dir plus main.txt, and then .txt. think that's it. So it's going to use main, or it's going to use the file name you passed, which is, so go HTML. It's going to do go HTML main. That's not going to exist, so it's going to do go HTML.text. That is going to exist, so it's going to output it. In case of go, it's going to do go/main.text. That is going to exist, so it's going to output it. I think that works. Okay, these got to be cleaned up. Got file 1 and file 2 here. I think I want to use the same name. So somewhere up top, I want to say our template file string down here. I'll set those two. I won't set them directly in a minute. We'll check if they exist and then we'll set them. Alright, so we'll try to get os.template file. And I actually want to ignore the error. If there is an error, I just want to check another one. So what we're going to do is we're going to check for main, and if that doesn't exist, so there's an error, then we're going to check for the file name itself. And I think we only really need to check for those two. And then we'll just log error template file not found. And I guess we don't need file info at all. Probably not the right error code. So I want to fix that exit code and check if things exist. Grab the first. Those comments aren't super clear, but up here we're checking to see if the main.txt file, the index, exists, and down here we're checking to see if a file, the template name, exists. I'll mess with that later. And we anymore. Alright, so we got a file. We didn't get an error. So it's time to output that file. So we cat template file. Which should be the proper name of our file at this point. What? Oh, sorry. Look at that. Oh, it is. Guess I never went back and fixed that. Created a directory instead of a file. How did I do that? Don't know how I did it. Because I had copied and pasted from this page source. I do remember that I had overwritten, or put it in my Go HTML, Go HTTP instead of where I wanted it. Maybe I just forgot to go back. I use this in almost all of my stuff, so I think I'll leave it. Kind of wish it wasn't necessary. Maybe I don't want it. I don't know. I'm leaving it for now. Alright. And we want to try go run boiler.go HTML. That's right. Place again. And there's my other template. Wow, that actually went really fast. I'm going to go ahead and build that, and then you can see that it will go boiler go. Sorry, it's boiler go, boiler HTML, and go HTTP. Sweet, everything works. Wow, super simple. Okay, I'll come back to some more of this. One thing I want to do is I want to pull an environment variable in. Another thing I want to do is if these files don't exist, I want to actually reach out to the web and say, all right, if these don't exist, we're going to pull them from some public repo. And I want to be able to set the public repo also with an environment variable. And so then I can have public templates on my own site. If you wanted to download this and use it for yourself, you could put your own templates on your own site that's on the public internet somewhere. You could put your templates in your local file system, like I did in this case. So there's 3 different ways to load templates, and maybe we can share templates. So cool. Wow, that actually went faster than I expected it to.
Okay, I want to make a minor adjustment before this is ready to go live. I want to change this directory here. And I'm going to use ~broiler template. And save that, and I realize I just changed that from plural to non-plural. I think I like the non-plural version better. Looks like that's the only place I used it. So that's good. I also want to change the syntax here just to output the app name. Oh, hello, puppy. And this will clearly make it squarely in the Linux world. And I don't know if tilde works in Go, so let's see if it does. Boiler test path. And I also wanted to add the file name. That we tried to open. Looks like we have a bug there with that first argument. And I'll just change this to not equal to 1. I think that will solve that problem. It will. And we need a slash at the end of that guy. That looks good. The other thing I could do is add a environment variable. Of boiler. I don't know if nil will work in this case. Template directory is a constant. Let's just change it to a string. Actually, I don't need the var keyword in this case. Just going to assign it to a string and set the type to a string at the same time. Maybe if we say it's not empty. And then if we do export boiler, boiler equals something like that, and then we run this, we should get temp go. Yeah, great. That works. So we'll save that, and great. Okay. Another thing I want to do is I want to add a git ignore file, and we're going to ignore the boiler executable, and then I want to add a license file. Since I rename this to template, I'm also going to rename this directory to template instead of templates. And then back to our license, we'll do boiler license MIT. Oh, look, there's some license boilerplate. I'll copy that, paste it into here. Save it. And now we have a license. You'll notice there that I just ran boiler by itself. That in order to make that work, I created a shortcut or a symlink to the boiler executable in the current directory, which is something like this. That creates a symlink to boiler in user local bin boiler. I may have got those commands backwards, but you get the idea. And that makes it possible just to run boiler from wherever. And you can see the directory it's using is now my full directory, and that's because I've exported my environment. Okay, now I think we're done, and we can go ahead and push this to GitHub. I realized while editing this that I had misspelled boiler as broiler in several instances. So I've gone back and fixed that and then pushed those changes on to GitHub.